So I'm really excited today to have Scott Garcia. Am I saying that right, Scott? From Optimize 5. He is a co-founder, technology consultant, specializes in Google and all things Google profiles. And I decided to have him, I was introduced to him about a year and a half ago, I think, from one of my coaching clients who had optimized his Google profile with Scott. And then, so we've been going back and forth. And recently, Scott's team just helped me because I got my own profile suspended because I did a stupid thing and changed the address of the business. Don't do that. That's all I have to say first. That's my input today. Don't do anything that you're not aware of how to do because it's an immediate suspension and it's taken a good few months to get it back. They just got it back for me. But Google Business Profiles, I'm finding from a lot of my coaching clients and people in our industry that if you do it right, you can get a lot of organic leads coming through. And I am a proponent of getting away from as many purchased leads as possible. Now, caveat, you can pay for leads on Google. And I'm sure Scott will go into some of that. At the organic world is with YouTube and Google is kind of the hot buttons right now. If you're looking to build organic content, very similar to the old days when everybody was doing SEO. And so I thought it'd be really good to have a professional around this topic because Google is super protective of their site. And they're getting stickier and stickier on what you do and what you put on their sites and your profile. So I am going to open it up to Scott with Optimize 5. He's going to do a presentation and then we'll have some Q&A at the end. So Scott, thanks for being here today and it's all yours.
Thank you so much. Well, we've got a small group, so this is great. And maybe a few folks might join as we go through, but regardless, we'll kick it off. I'm going to show a few slides, promise there's only a few, and then we'll get into some real world stuff. So I'm actually going to show you what shows up online. And what we're really going to focus on today is two things. Number one, I live in Southern California. If I go out for dinner tonight with my wife, well, everyone's moving to Texas, so we'll poke at Johnny. If I go out for dinner tonight with my wife and the other couple says we're moving to Dallas and I say, oh, you need to work with my friend Johnny Apple. It does not matter how great I say he is. It does not matter if it's his sister's best friend who refers him out. The person who decides to work with Johnny is going to Google him before he hires him. And you all know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. The next question I always have is, but then what? What do they do next? So that's what we're going to focus on today. And what we'll do is we'll go through the presentation, and if you have questions along the way, maybe just jot them down because I might cover that question before the end of my little part. If I don't, then we'll do the Q&A at the end and we'll address all questions. So let me share my, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to go through a few things really quickly. Just so you know a little bit about us, Optimize 5 was started in February of 2020, and I want to share that with you because I am self-employed just like each and every one of you are. And in February of 2020, let's think about that month for a minute. The greatest time to start a business? Probably not for most people, but my business was focused on building the online brand of small businesses, specifically real estate agents. So unbeknownst to me, a boon was about to happen for me because realtors could no longer get belly to belly with their customers. They couldn't knock on doors or do open houses. Depending on where you are in the country, in LA, you weren't allowed outside. Right? So it was an unbelievably fantastic time to start a business based on the online brand, but I learned so much. And the one thing I learned more than anything, something I thought I knew because I've been in real estate tech for so long, but something I truly got to really realize over time was that there's too much tech in your business. CRMs and marketing platforms and data analytics for your geo farm. There's so much stuff. And at the end of the day, just like I said before I opened up my slide deck, no matter how these people find you, whether you've been referred out or you knocked on their door or they saw your ad or they saw your billboard or they saw a digital ad or they got a mailer, they're all going to Google you first. So that online presence is paramount. In fact, your online brand is a precursor to all of this lead gen, right? What shows up when someone looks for you online? So here's the other piece. It's the piece I always remind my realtor partners, and it's aligned with our whole conversation today around online brand. You may be with Keller Williams, you may be Compass, you may be a side broker like the ones I was with last night, or Next Home like I was last week, or Century 21, like I was with a few months ago, and it was really challenging to say this at a Century 21 event. But you are the brand, and you all know that at the end of the day, I have referred out the same realtor in Canada. I'm Canadian, so you might hear the boots in my accent. I have referred out the same realtor dozens of times in Toronto, Canada, that I used many times. I do not know the brokerage he's with. I know him because he sat with me at the negotiation table when I bought and sold my first home. And so he's the guy I remember. And so with that in mind, I'm going to share with you three stats that really, really matter. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what we're talking about today, which is your online brand presence. So here's the first stat. 73% of consumers choose a business via online search results without ever visiting a website. You all have your own website. Could be www.scottvancia.com. It could be kw.com/Scott Vancia. So it's the broker site. It's your vanity URL. But at the end of the day, when you are referred out, if I've got your card and I give it to someone, they are not typing that URL into the internet, right? They're just going to Google your name. So let's think about that as we move along to our next stat, which is 69% of consumers only find relevance in online reviews that are less than 2 to 3 months old. You have all been told to get reviews in the same place for 15 years, mostly. It's the big Z company, right? So you've been told to get Zillow reviews and put your clients through the process of having to create an account and validate the house that they looked at, etc. And I would argue today that that is not the number one place to get reviews. I'm not saying not to get Zillow reviews, but there's somewhere else you probably already know where you should be getting those reviews. We're going to dig into that today because there's a secret to those reviews. But also, if I'm going to my new chiropractor next week and I Google them just to get the address and I see their profile online, I do two things. First of all, when I click on the reviews, I see that the last review was 12 months ago. How busy are these guys? Do they get a regular influx of business? The other thing that I do, and based on the sample size of our group today, I'm going to say maybe one of you might do this as well, maybe more. I filter by negative reviews. I read the bad reviews first, and I don't read them to read spilled tea on this company. I want to see if they have replied to that bad review. I want to see what the business owner's response is to that. Here's the stat that this entire presentation is based on. It's actually the stat that my company was built on. 87% of referred prospects are going to Google you before they call you, just like I mentioned at the beginning of our presentation. And that brings up that next question, which is that all they do? They Google you and then they call you and hire you? Let's leave that question lingering in this for a moment. We're going to break this up into three pieces today. We're going to talk about Google Business Profile. You all have a Google Business Profile. That's the assumption. So we're not going to talk about just creating one today. What we're going to talk about is why it needs to be optimized. Your Google profile needs to be optimized. If you don't have a Google profile, you can go to YouTube and just search how to set up Google profile. They're free. This is all about organic. What can we get for free in our business? Because there's lots. But why your profile should be optimized and how to do that is going to be the main topic today. Then we're going to talk about reviews. And then finally, we're going to talk about business listings. This is also known as business citations. So this is not listing a property. This is where you are listed online. And this is a local SEO, search engine optimization fundamental. So let's get to some real world stuff. Can y'all see my Zillow screen? I could have picked any city in America. It is all relative. I picked Pleasanton, which is a Bay Area suburb. Home value average is about 1.6 million. We could be anywhere. And I've gone to Zillow, even though I just said mean things about Zillow, to the page where nobody goes to look for a realtor except other realtors, right? So consumers go to Zillow to look for real estate. Realtors do use the realtor finder on Zillow, okay? Going there to prove a point. If I plug in the city name, Pleasanton, California, all of the realtors that are showing up on what is called page one of Zillow's Realtor Finder are fairly prolific, high-profile realtors. I can tell because they have so many reviews. 300 reviews, 300 reviews, almost 100 reviews. So these are busy real estate agents. But if someone told me to work with, I would just Google him. And if I did, this is what I see. And this is what we should see for each one of you. And thankfully, Yvonne is recording this presentation. So don't pull out your phone and Google yourself yet. Do that afterwards. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if I Googled, because I was referred to him, all the links on the left are what I get for any real estate agent. There's his website, his Compass site, his Yelp, et cetera, et cetera. None of that's catching my eye. This is what's catching my eye. It's his Google business profile, and it is optimized. He's got 100 reviews on Google. I can get to his website. I can see his products. We're going to come back through all this in a moment. I can see his products. I can ask him a question. Every Google profile has a spot where you can ask a question. No one asks questions of realtors on Google profiles, but he's got 24 of them. We'll come back to that as well. As I scroll further, I can book an appointment. I can see all of his social links. And he posted here 4 days ago. He posted to the profile the way you would post to social media. This is an optimized profile. There's the guy I met at the open house. There's his reviews, his products, his all connected to Zillow and Facebook. He posted here 20 hours ago. So you're seeing a theme here, right, of these profiles that are robust. Okay. He's got 100 reviews on Zillow, who's been in the business for some time. It's a picture of a parking lot. Now, this is a free Google profile, and so is this. But there's a fundamental difference between those two, which is clear. There's no images except for the picture of the parking lot. There's no reviews. There's no business hours. There's no products. There's no postings. And right now, we're not talking about the technical. We're talking about the visual, just what the consumer might see. I would Google her. And if I Googled, there's nothing there. It's white space, right? So here's her Zillow profile. Here's her realtor.com. To the naked eye, to the layperson, you would look at this and say, it's fine, actually. It's fine because if I was referred to, I would Google her and I would just click on her Zillow profile and I'd get her phone number and I'd call her. Perfect. I looked her up. Do I hire her? My next search is yes, but I'm going to be selling my lovely home in Pleasanton. Who's the top realtor in Pleasanton? Who's the best luxury real estate agent? Who's the top probate focused attorney in? Think about all of the things that folks are looking for today. You've all seen this before. It's called the Google 3-pack. If you look for any local business, pizza shop near me, nail salon, realtor, Google always shows you on the first page, on the front page of search, the top 3 of their choice. This is not based on production. If I click more businesses, it opens up Google Maps. These are ads at the top. These are going to get switched in and out. These are those first 3 that were in the Google 3-pack, and then all the other realtors are listed here. This is what the Yellow Pages once was. For any of you on the call as old as me, there was a thing called the Yellow Pages. I know none of you will admit to knowing what that is. This is the Yellow Pages now. And all of the folks who are listed here, this is their Google business profile. So some of you listening are like, yeah, we get it. Maybe a few of you aren't too sure about it. But the point is that we'll never be in the Yellow Pages of our time without her free Google profile. So right off the bat, for anyone listening thinking, do I need this thing? You need it. It is a must. It's not a, should I bother? I only work by referral. All of those referrals are going to look you up, and all of them are going to do the research because why wouldn't they? It's free and it's easy, right? So if 87% of referred real estate prospects are going to Google you before they call you, she is here because of how this was built. So let's walk through it from top to bottom so that you can see how it's done. And by the way, as we go through this, if you're watching it and you're thinking, I don't want to do any of this, we're going to put up a QR code at the end of the presentation. You can scan it. You can meet with someone on my team for 30 minutes for free, and we'll work with you one-on-one. If you want to hire us to do it, that's awesome. But you don't have to. It's good information about you. Okay. So let's walk through it from top to bottom. Top of search in a city with a $1.6 million home value average and like a billion real estate agents. It's because of this Google profile. When I click on this picture of her, this lovely headshot, notice that there isn't just one image. There is so many images that I can just keep scrolling and scrolling. And to be frank, most consumers are not going to click into these images, but Google sees them and Google loves them. Google sees them as assets attached to the profile. And it's a tick box on a local SEO fundamental. She has more assets than other people's Google profiles. There are hundreds of images in here. So all we see is this front cover, but there's a bunch of strong asset attached to the back end. She has 190 Google reviews. She has 8 Zillow reviews. I'm not looking over here. It's not catching my eye. This is staring me in the face. This is called social proof. You guys have heard that before. It's right in front of me, right? It's social proof, but no one spoke the words to me. My neighbor didn't tell me. The internet is telling me, and it's shining in gold. It's staring me in the face. When I open these reviews, note that you've got a review from Justin with all of this content that has been written about her and her full response. She's responded to every single review. This is technical. Google wants to see a response. Google likes your profile more, will actually put your profile ranking up higher because they see that it is robust and it is filled out, including the responses to the reviews. But coming back to the content that has been written about her, Google is reading it. So here's the secret piece of these reviews. Google's reading every single word. You have all been told, just like I have been told for 2 decades, to create content online. Write up every day, real estate, and because you have time to do that, of course, and post that blog all the time. Now, we're supposed to pretend that the reason why you are supposed to write a blog every day is so that you can provide great information to your clientele. But we all know the real reason was that one day your blog will rank the highest. One day when someone looks for real estate agents or real estate in, your blog will rank the highest. But it isn't going to happen because you have to beat. If I look for real estate in Dallas, what's going to show up first? Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, Homes.com, right? You're never going to be. How many realtors have called me over the years and said, I want my website to show up first when someone looks for real estate in Austin? Don't let anyone tell you that they're going to make that happen for you. So what am I saying? Google is going to, or sorry, your customers create your content for you. So when I look for top real estate agents in, what town are you in, Paula? Chicago? You're on mute, actually. Sorry.
Our team is in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm the remote operations manager for them.
Great. If I look for top real estate agents in Huntsville, as I scroll through the folks Google has told me to work with, note that they are pulling out reviews. They're referencing these reviews because they're finding words like professional. That's in Google's world to the word top. So as I scroll through, they're finding the words realtor, they're finding the words professional, great in the actual language written by the client. So when your client writes a review and they just pick 5 stars and that's it, there's no content. It's good, you've gotten something, but when they say Yvonne Arnold is the best real estate coach in, Google sees that correlation. So this is way more powerful than a blog, way more powerful than even a website, is the content of the actual review that they've written about you. Okay. I want to pause for a minute. Is this compelling information for all of you? It's okay. It's making sense because my caffeine is just kicking in now. So I'm getting revved up. Okay.
Yes, so and I'm my questions down and you're answering some of them. And so we're going to keep rolling with that. That's great.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, great. So lots of images. We've got lots of reviews. Everything is connected to her website. It's not connected to her Zillow page. It's not connected to her Facebook page. That might make sense, but some people do this other stuff. It should connect to her website, and everything should connect to her website where she exists online. Her business name is not Gina Piper. Her business name is Gina Piper Line Elation Real Estate, and Google wants to see that information online connected to the same website. Okay, as I further, this is information that should be filled out and obvious. She has been asked 50 questions online. Let's look at these questions. What neighborhoods are closest to the BART station? How much down payment do you typically need to purchase a home? What's the difference between old and new Pasadena? As I read these, you might be thinking, did someone actually ask these questions, or were they asked and answered by the real estate agent themselves? You can treat this Q&A area as an FAQ of your own business. You can ask and answer your own questions. It does not show that you asked them. It only shows that you answered them, and Google loves it. Google wants to see as much content into this profile as possible. Her profile has been posted to yesterday. Google wants to see a post, just like a social media post, on the Google business profile at least once a week. That is the best practice. It sees this as engagement. Scrolling down further, there is a full biography about her business. Everything has been connected to her links. She has products. Now, the first thought here might be you're going to put your listings up here, which you would, but sometimes we don't have a listing, but you always have a product. You always have home buyer consultations, property value analysis, and all of them should be written with keywords and linked to the page on your website with that information. So if you have a home buyer section on your website, you would connect it there. If you have a home selling guide, you would connect it there. If you don't have any of that, you'll just connect it to your website URL. You want a home buyer consultation? Here's the link. Goes to your website because all of your contact information is there. This is all called backlinking. Everything is linking back to the same place. Another SEO fundamental. I can book an appointment through a contact link. Every Google profile has this. You just need to fill it out. And when Google sees that it's filled out, will the consumers click on this? Probably not. Maybe. But the point is that Google sees it and Google loves it. Okay, so we've from the top to the bottom of the visual of this Google profile and why it has built in such a way where it can rank. So we've addressed that and we've addressed the reviews. Now let's talk about the business listings. All of the information, like I said, isn't just on Google, it's all over the internet. And the more places where her NAP, which is the acronym for name, address, and phone number, is matching online, the more that Google loves it. The trouble with this profile, the one that is just a shell, isn't only that it's missing images, that it's missing business hours and products and postings and reviews and social links and appointment link and all that other stuff. I would tell her all of that needs to be filled out. But the other problem is her NAP is incorrect according to the internet. And the reason why I know that is that I ran a business scan. And in fact, we did this for you, Yvonne, some time ago, you remember. We scanned the internet to look for where business exists. And I want to show you what we found. This is her business name, address, and phone number according to Google. And so that matches perfectly. But as I scroll further, you'll notice that there's another company with the same phone number all over the internet. It's called Byerly Properties. Now, web crawlers don't know that. They say, wait a minute, this phone number is associated to another business at another address with the same phone number. Something's not right. We don't trust the information. So this is something you control, mostly. You can go to Yelp, Bing, MapQuest, City Search, Google, Facebook, all of those places online. Make sure your information matches. Your business name, if your business name is Scott Vancia Realtor, but on the Facebook business page, it's Scott Vancia Keller Williams Realtor, that's a completely different business name. So you want that information matching as much as possible. If you meet with us, we'll run a scan for you. It's a free scan and we'll send it to you so you have it and so you can actually look at that information. Most places, companies that get this right, software is used to syndicate that information out to the internet. So if you work with a company that uses software to do it, and you can just buy that software on your own as well, you can take your information and syndicate it to the internet so it's matching in as many places as possible. Okay, so
Scott, Optimize have that software and you do that as part of the process that you guys do?
thank you for asking that question, Yvonne. Yes, we do. We do absolutely. And before we meet with you one-on-one, we'll run that business scan and show you the places where it's incorrect. We'll send you a copy of it so you can have it for yourself as well. Okay, so look at other things here really quickly. We looked at the profiles that are built so well, then we looked at the one that isn't built well, it's a shell, and then we looked at the person who has no profile, and we talked about why these rank and why they don't, and how to build one and get reviews, and why business listing matter so much. So let me come back over here.
So that blank, when the white space shows up, when you put somebody's name in, it isn't because of my IP address. It's because they don't have a profile, right?
That's a great question. Yes, mostly. If I'm in, there's a name's Bradley Pitt. And I could be standing beside him in line at Whole Foods in North Carolina and Google Bradley Pitt, and it's going to be the guy that we all know to be Brad Pitt. So the point is that if you have a very unique name, then I could be looking from anywhere in the country. So great example, we have a client, her name is Tally Dar. She's in Danville, but if I take out Danville, the city, I'm in Southern California, that's in Northern California, her Google profile already wants to come up because her name is very, very unique. So it's going to matter where I am. But other profiles, you often have to add the city or real estate for it to come up, unless they're hyper local to you. So again, I could be standing in Corona and Google Cancer Google profile will come up because I'm so close to her. My computer is. But if I'm in Huntsville, it might not.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to come back and tie it all up together, but there's one other thing I want to touch on because you've all been hearing about it for some time, and I want to mention it because I think it's important. AI, of course, is coming into play now quite a bit. A lot of folks are using ChatGPT, Google Gemini, all of these AI engines to start doing research. I use ChatGPT every single day now, and it's happening more and more and more. I'm sure you are as well. That ChatGPT is why this matters more than ever, meaning that where your information is online and how accurate it is how these AI engines aggregate data. They're just pulling it from all over the internet. So the fear of folks no longer searching on Google for businesses, we need to quell that because as they move more to AI is just taking that from these other search engines anyway. I'll give you an example. If I open up ChatGPT and I look for, and with ChatGPT, I'll use more real language conversation. So I won't check for top real estate agents in Pleasanton. I'll say, who are the top real estate agents in Pleasanton, California? No, there we go. And I want you to see the outcome that Google gives me, or sorry, that the ChatGPT gives me, and how it relates to what shows up online. It's amazing. So Google has their own called Google Gemini. ChatGPT is a standalone company, but heavily invested in by Microsoft Bing, the competitor to Google. And yet they're telling me to work with, and they're hyperlinking his name. And if I click on it, what does it do? It opens up Google Business Profile on Google Maps. So it's deferring to Google anyway today. That's what's happening today. Meaning that if it didn't have a Google Business Profile, it wouldn't find him. It wants to find him on Google. They're telling me to work with, if I click on that, looking for that person all over the internet. And because it's not written exactly the way their name is, they're not sure which one it is, but they're still defaulting to Google business profiles. So the point is that hyper focus and double down on Google. It will serve you on the AI side.
And Scott, that's not going to matter if you're in Perplexity. Any of the AIs are going to do that because Google has the most contact information.
Totally. And if they're not hyperlinking to Google, they're still aggregating the data that's on Google and Bing and all of them. And so at the end of the day, you want your information to be matching in as many places as possible and correct anyway. Google Business Profile is a robust profile listing. So the more accurate information in there, the better. Okay. Some tips and best practices and to the Q&A. First one is, hopefully I made this obvious, you need to have an optimized Google profile. You want your information accurate in as many places as possible. You're never going to get it all. If your Google business profile name is Scott Vancy, a realtor, realtor.com may just want your last name on it. That's okay. It's about controlling it and in the places that you can. Get as many Google reviews as possible. Have a process to get them as often as you can. I get you guys are not a pizza place or a automotive shop where you've got people coming in and out all day, where you can ask them for building relationships over time and you do a few deals in a month and those are the people you're asking for reviews, but you got to ask them. And I would argue you want to get them on Google as soon as possible. Don't get fake reviews. You can't be your friends. It can't be other realtors. It can't be partners. It's got to be actual customers. But I would say you can fast and loose with the rule, with the fact that some customers haven't transacted yet, but they're still customers. You're still bringing them to properties, et cetera, et cetera. So keep that in mind for agents who are trying
Really
to build
quick regarding that, do you
Yeah.
recommend if you've got like 100 on Zillow and you want to get those into the Google reviews because they haven't done both, is it a good idea to say, hey, here's a copy and paste of the review that I have on that you gave me on Zillow. I just made it easier for you. And here's the Google review because we know 89% of the people are going to Google. Can you please duplicate this type of review on Google and give them what they already wrote? If they copy and paste that, is it good or do they need to write it again?
I'm so glad you asked. 2 years ago, I'd be giving you a different answer. So it's now a negative. You do not ask them to copy and paste because Google is seeing the duplicate content and they're suppressing it on Google because they can see that it's a copy and paste exactly.
Okay.
So I get the approach, which is you're trying to wheels and make it easy for your customer to not have to go in and try to think of what to say. But now Google's caught that and you can't do it anymore. So best thing to do is send an email, like you said, with the link, not to your Google profile, to the Google review part, right? It's its own special link. Every Google profile has it, and ask them just to write the review. And yeah, don't copy and paste. It's not working anymore.
Great.
Yeah. Respond to all reviews, but especially the ones if you get one. An amicable response to a negative review will typically neutralize that negativity. And if you have a 5-star rating and you get a bad review and it drops you down to a 4.4, if you bury that with more 5-star reviews, they do round it up eventually right back up to 5 stars. And then this is outside of Google, but it's just something we're mentioning a lot right now because we're seeing it so often. My guess is most of you are posting to Instagram. Some of you are posting to Facebook. And I bet that 90% of you more followers on LinkedIn than you do on either of those platforms that you don't post to it. And LinkedIn is actually kind of where it's at right now. Real estate marketing are talking about LinkedIn. 77% of the users are over the age of 30, so they're aligned with people who buy homes. So don't neglect LinkedIn. That's where the investors are. That's where the business community is. So it's a great opportunity to post. And with that, if you use this code, it will open up a form, fill it out. It takes 10 seconds and it books a meeting with us on our calendar. You pick the time. We'll do a 30-minute consultation. That 30-minute consultation is not a demo. We'll have done research on your profiles before the meeting, and then we'll walk through what we found. We'll talk about how to make it better. You can hire us if you want. You don't have to. Because you came to us through Yvonne, we have specific to you. And we do other stuff. We do social posting. We do website optimization. But book the meeting. It doesn't cost you anything, and I think you'll get some good value out of it.
Great.
And yeah. So any other thoughts or questions?
I'm going to open it up to Q&A, and I have the first question I have is back to the photos. Is it still about tagging photos with location and all of that? Kathy's shaking her head and everyone's like, yeah, I had that question too.
That question, because that's what people were doing. They were geotagging their photos. So I live in Arcadia, California, but surrounded by Madre and Duarte and Monrovia. So when I'm at the Monrovia place, I take a picture of that house and it's tagged to Monrovia. All of a sudden, I'm going to show up in all these places. It doesn't work. Every image you upload to Google's business profile, that tag gets swiped and it gets tagged with the location of your profile. So the office profile is what's going on that photo no matter what.
So don't spend any time geotagging.
Don't geotag the images going on your profile. There are other ways you can geotag and get them onto these business listings that have some SEO juice. Also, there is the product section of the Google profile where you can have you can get too in the weeds with all of you. But if you meet with us, chat with more about it because we do this for our customers. In fact, I'll show you one right now, which I think you might find interesting. So show you our client, Brenda. Am I showing you the right page? Are you looking at my email or at, okay,
We're
cool.
looking at it.
Okay. So as I said on profile, so you notice the products, there's one called Brenda Vance's Past Sales, and we built an interactive Google map. So if you click on that link, it actually pulls in a Google map with all of the listings in all of the locations.
Oh, I love that.
And there is some SEO juice, for lack of a better term, to that. And it's actually pretty cool. It's visual. The consumer can see the address and where they were, all the places that she's worked in the past. But Google sees this because it's built into the profile, but it's not an image on the profile. It's a product that links out to these backlinks. So another way that you can utilize, it's not geolocate, it's finding those locations and has an impact.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. The next part I'm into is people that will be listening to this that are team leaders and ops managers. Like Paula is an ops manager for a team that is a SEAL team. How many agents you have now, Paula? Like 5 total agents? 5. So team leaders Google profile, and then to have all the team members are all at the same address of a brokerage at an office, and having them have optimization in their Google profiles that then all kind of ties together. So you're not fighting each other. It's benefiting the whole team.
Totally. So this can go in a few different ways, and I would love to meet with you, Paula, and we can talk about that and what the objective is of the team in this regard. And so what I mean by that is some team leads will say, look, there's only one profile. It's the team's profile. All reviews go to the team. Some will say, look, we know that you're building your own business. Eventually you're going to move on. I know I'm just being frank. This is the frank conversation. So eventually you're going to open up, you're going to be your own person. You should have your own Google profile, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's some nuance to because team lead is Scott Vancia. I've got my buyer's agent, John. He works with the client. The client eventually just loves John. But when they refer John out, the people are looking up John, not the team lead. And the team lead's profile is not showing up because it's not connected because the profile is called Scott Vancia Team. So there's ways to sort of manipulate the profile to get it when you're looking for other team members, but it is a deeper conversation. So to give you a little bit more information, absolutely each team member can have their own profile. So perhaps it's John Smith hyphen Scott Vancia Team. So now John's collecting his own reviews, and when he moves on, he gets to keep them. Right? So there's a few different ways to look at this. However, when I'm looking for the Scott Vancia team, because my name, Scott Vancia, is in John's profile name, maybe his profile is going to rank above the team profile. So that's another consideration. So I'm actually making it more challenging as we talk through it, but we can have this whole conversation. And by the way, for anybody on the call who has a team, we'll teach a class to the team about why they need to optimize if they decide that they want to do them for each agent. And we do that for free. We'll do this class. We'll show them everything. We can answer a lot of questions. And maybe one or two of them will do the consultation and hire us too, which is great.
And also the reverse of that would benefit a team member to optimize the team profile because it brings in more leads if you're focusing on one, and those leads are going to get to the team members anyway. So, yeah, so that's very interesting. Okay, anybody have any other questions? I see one down in the chat. Paula, okay, go ahead. So once our online is Rebecca Lowry Group as a team, is there anything different we should do? So you kind of answered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was typing it as you right before you said what you said. I was like, oh, we're
totally. So that's distinct, Remax distinctive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have our own profile, Rebecca Lowry Group at Remax Distinctive. Remax Distinctive is her mother's brokerage.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at the group profile. So you've done a great job on this profile, and I can see the gaps, and we can talk about that when we meet. And
Yes.
and then we'll run a business scan because
that's the thing I was most concerned about, is that we're competing with her mother for the address and for those kinds of things. So
right. And then that brings up a great point too, Paula, for anybody else on the call. This is a very common issue. So you go to create your profile and you put in the address into Google, you're following the steps, and it goes, oh, you're Remax distinctive. Your impetus will be, yes, I am Remax distinctive, but actually you're not. You're supposed to say no. You are your own company within the same address. So the idea is that you're not taking the address from Remax distinctive. You're saying, no, I'm a company within that because there's 500 realtors or 100 or 10 or whatever who all get to use the same address. It's perfectly fine to do that. Having said that, Google and the folks who work in the Google Business Profile team in India, they often don't know their own policies to some extent. And so they'll say, well, no, you can't have that. And then you have to provide documentation. Sometimes you have to shoot a video of you walking in the door and opening up a door. And, they're going to say, well, show me the sign on the building that says Scott Vancia Realtor. And you're going to say, that's not how it works. The point is, it could be arduous, but you got to go through that pain because you have to have this profile, or you can hire us and we can help you with it. I don't want to make it sound like it's super hard and hire us because we're going to make it easy for you. You still have to do the steps. We can help to facilitate it to some extent, but regardless, whether you work with us or do it on your own, you got to do it because you have to have that profile.
Any other questions? Yes, Brianna.
Hi, I'm Brianna, and I'm all the way up from Whitehorse, Yukon,
Oh my God.
Canada, up by Alaska. So we are always 10 steps, actually a million steps behind all of you. So you can imagine R&D is like overwhelming, but like so good. This is so elementary, but what we find a lot of with our Google reviews, like we ask for it, link takes them to Facebook and then one to Google. And what we get a lot of people coming back and saying is they don't have a Google email or an account, so they can't leave a review. Is there any other way around that, or is it they have to have an
Yeah.
account?
So before I answer your question, when I Google White Horse Yukon real estate agents, you are in the coveted Google 3-pack, Brianna. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So
And I'm hiring your company because apparently I'm suspended and I have no idea why. And I don't
yeah.
have time, so I'm going to pay you to do it.
Yeah, it's like you got to sell houses, you know?
Yeah.
And so like
Even though
yeah.
I'm suspended, I'm in, and that, honest to God, like we are tiny. We have like 55 agents in 40,000 people in the whole territory. And that was something I learned from Tom Ferry was the Google My Business. And I worked hard to get that where I am. And now I'm suspended. And
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know why.
yeah, we'll
But
figure
I
it out
do
with you.
now,
Yeah.
like I feel, because you just talked about the team piece, and my coworker and I teamed up under the umbrella of Urban Realty Group, and now I'm going, oh God, so there's Urban has address, I have the same address, and White Horse House to Home team has the same address. I'm like, maybe that's why, like, I don't
Mhm.
know.
It's probably not why, because that's the way real estate companies and agents work. They work from one location, many, many, many. So that's probably not why, and we may never
Okay,
find out why, but we will get you out of suspension.
that'd be
Um,
great.
but you know, we don't people don't pay us just to get them out of suspension, or that's what their impetus is, but we want to optimize this too because
Yeah,
it's actually not optimized in a way that lets sustain your ranking and then build it in such a way where you can increase that and yeah, secure your spot. And so, yeah,
totally.
book that meeting,
Yeah.
and we'll go through everything with you. But good for you for
Yeah.
all your hard work. So to answer your question on the reviews, no. The short answer is no. They have to have a Google account, and so you want to get that review somewhere. Obviously, if you can't get it and get Google, you get it on Zillow. But your first thought might be, like a lot of folks do, is they'll send an email and it'll say, "Hey, leave me a review here," and they'll put Zillow link, Google link, Yelp link, and that typically means you're not getting any reviews
Mhm.
because it's too much, and they're not going to want to go through the process every single time. So I would say get a Google review first, and hopefully I've compelled everybody that that is the number one place that you want your reviews. And if they come back and say we can't do it, then you would send them the link for the other place. But
Yeah,
there's no
direct
other
them
way
in one
around it.
spot and maybe even give them instructions of how to do a free Gmail account.
Yeah,
Account,
that's
and
true.
just
Because
say,
we,
hey, you only need it for this one thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They can
Okay.
actually create an account. They don't even need a Gmail. You can create a Google account with another email address. Like it could be a Outlook or a Hotmail or whatever, and create a Google account from there. But you know, now you're putting them through the throes of
Yeah.
that whole process, and that's the challenge. If they're willing to do it, great. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Because
throw,
on our
maybe
website,
hold a
like,
class
yeah.
about how to optimize your own Google profile for your own little business in the Yukon.
Hmm.
And now you've helped them build their business profiles, and now they have accounts that they can give you reviews on.
Right?
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Great. Anybody else have any questions? So here's my top takeaways I put down. Reply to all reviews, number one, and negative as well. Stuffing those replies, and I hear this term, stuffing those replies with keywords. Would you recommend that?
No, but thank you for saying that. Write the reply in an organic way that you would reply to anybody. It's not about the content of the reply. It's just about there being a reply. It's the content of the actual review. Google takes the content of the actual review, but not the reply. They just want to see that there is a reply.
Perfect. No need to geotag any more photos, so that's one less thing you have to do. Questions are your FAQ. Ask and answer yourself. So I love that because, and then that's great. Posting 1 time a week minimum. Products, add everything, and it creates backlinking. I love that part because I didn't realize that you could put things like a buyer consult guide, the map to all of your past sales. I mean, those are brilliant. And
Mhm.
then NAP, name, address, and phone number across all channels of the internet need to be the same. And that's where that whole audit comes from, that you can run for them, Scott.
You got
I
it.
love it, you guys. This is good. Thank you so much for being here, Scott. I appreciate it. I
Thank you. Nice
appreciate
meeting
you.
you.
And thanks everybody for showing up today. Hopefully it helped you. And if there's anything else that you'd like to see on all these little things that I do, just send it my way and I'll try and bring in the actual founder and have the professionals tell us how to do it.
Well, thanks for having me, Yvonne. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.